starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Pulse of Poetry. I am excited today because I have very special guests. I have Miss Spicy Gray, who is author of Her Cry, Her Truth, Her Heart. And I also have Symbolic Soul, who has a book about healing souls. Her book, Healing Souls. Am I correct? Welcome, ladies. I am excited. So I did a brief introduction, but if I can start with you, Spicy, could you give me a little background on how you got into poetry and just a quick little synopsis about you and what you do and where you're located?
Well, I am located in San Antonio, Texas, born and raised.
Yeah.
I got into poetry really as a young child. People remind me that I used to walk around with a pen and a pad, always in, middle school. So to me, at that time, it was a place to escape from everything that I was going through in life. So, getting into poetry, it was like just a place to escape, a place of healing for me and the traumas in life that I was going through. So that's what I used it for.
Okay. And next, Symbolic Soul.
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be here. Um, so I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and
Right.
when I was younger, I used to write out my pain, and so I didn't know that that was poetry then, But then, as I grew up and I found God, then that's when God just started cultivating my gift, and so that's how I started as a poet and just through all the pain that I went through, I just used that to tell my story in order to help other people heal, to tell their truth.
Yeah, I think that's actually how I got into poetry. And poetry is it's such a release and therapeutic way to express your feelings and actually help other people as you talk about your journey. I find that's how you grow audiences and get connections with people. Um, it's just very therapeutic. Have you all found that to be true?
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, it helped me to express, to heal, to gain strength, but also able to reach out and to help others to see that they could also escape and gain truth as well.
So
Yes.
the same for you, Miss Symbolic. So my question
Well,
is,
yeah.
uh
Oh yeah, I found my voice through poetry basically because like for the longest my voice was silenced from the things that happened to me as a child and just the abuse and stuff that I went through in my life. And so once I truly found poetry, I found my voice.
so since you said you specifically said you went through abuse, was there any particular poem that was hard for you to put out to the world? Now, that's a question for both of you. We talking like we at home, so
Um yeah, I mean because sometimes it's hard like even though you go through it, it's hard like to face your truth. So when I wrote that poem, Stand in My Truth, yeah, I just had to bare my soul in that poem and just like speak my truth. And I learned though, like when I started reciting it on different platforms, it helped a lot of other people as well. But for the longest, I was able. Well, I think the enemy had me wanted me to silence my voice and live in the darkness and not bring it to the light. Because the truth, when you bring the truth to the light, that's when people could heal and you could start healing yourself. So basically that's why I had to just, like, what, even though I'm afraid, I am gonna stand in my truth and I'm gonna speak my truth. And even
Uh-oh.
though
Did
it
we
don't
freeze?
feel good. Huh? Did it freeze?
I think you
Is it
froze
frozen?
symbolic. What about you, Miss Spicy? We'll come back to.
Oh,
Yes, I say, the hardest one for me to write was called Blackout. And
hold on.
Blackout was hard for me because, it actually was a situation where I was beaten and I was laying in the emergency room. And as I looked up towards this glass, it's just what I realized what could have been, what could have happened. And the words just came to me in writing that piece there.
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Oh,
Okay.
oh, okay, yeah. So I was just saying it was the one that was standing your truth, even though, because I knew it was gonna be like so powerful when I wrote it. Like, I just prayed to God to be able to be on different platforms to speak it. Once I was able to actually like speak my truth and stand in my truth, I knew that I was gonna be able to help a lot of other people do the same. So that's why it was like very hard for me, because I was revealing like some of the things that happened to me that I had to overcome, basically.
Mhm. Well, after the Unspoken Heart 2 book that I wrote, I did decide to do a form of a children's book. And the children's book is You Hurt, I Hurt. And it was based on my life from 6th grade to 12th grade. So, it's actually the memoirs of my own path. And I decided to write that because being a motivational speaker and reaching out to help others that, dealing with abuse or have dealt with it, they had to understand why I stand the way I do and why I write the way I do. I could actually relate to the stories that's being told and let them know that we do care and you can escape.
Well, I also write I write raps. So I'm also a rapper, and I write songs as well. So I just wanted to be different. So I started writing like hooks. It just started out where I was just writing hooks to my poetry, and then I started writing like songs, and then writing raps. And yeah, I just use my voice and just use the talent that God gives me.
Well, from my books, verbally, I have received responses like, I feel the pain that you've been through. I feel your strength. And I've also had people come to me and tell me that my book helped them to get through, their daily lives or have helped them to get out of situations they were in. So, the books came exactly the way, God intended it to come and serve as a purpose, not just for myself, but for others as well. And we're not just talking about women, but also men as well.
And I only have one book right now. I'm writing my second one, but it's not out yet. So I'm still working on it. But so with my one book, I've also received like great feedback from it. What I hope for people to get from my book is like to start their healing journey. Like I write about different things like domestic violence, uh, racism, poverty, jealousy, envy. I touch on a whole bunch of different things, and it's just like it's more to just lead to freedom, because I feel like every poem in there, God gave me, the message. So it's a message in a poetic format. So it's like to touch a soul and to help a soul just heal, just what the name is, like, because that's what God told me to name it, basically.
Thank you,
Hey,
Amen.
Marcine.
Hey, wow. I apologize, ladies. I guess drop down and I'm back. Thank you, Angela. Okay, I'm listening because I feel like I stopped something.
Oh, I was done already.
Okay. I guess when I faded away into the nothingness and came back, I was asking about a difficult poem. Do you ladies have that poem actually prepared? Would you uh, mind doing a segment? I like to do poetry, then talk, then do a little bit of poetry, and then talk again.
I know she knows hers by heart.
Oh, you got girl. Okay.
So you want me to
That'll
go
give
first, or
that'll
you
give you
want me to go second?
okay. So if you know yours symbolic, let's go with yours
Oh,
first, and then I give spicy time.
okay. So mine's is called "Standing Your Truth." Can we try something different for a change? I mean, instead of being silent, can we just raise our voices and maybe even broaden our horizon? You see, some of us would rather be silent and deny what we feel on the inside. Then we would decide to wear a mask to disguise all the hurt and pain we carry on the inside. But my question to you is why? Why would we rather hide our truth and cover it up with lies, only to deny the pain that would somehow resurface anyhow? In the meantime, we unknowingly allow our past to eat us alive as we learn to improvise. Why is it so hard to open our eyes and to recognize the enemy lies? I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I'm tired of being silent and I'm tired of hiding my truth. You see, I recently realized that hiding my truth was harder than working a full time job. So I had to tell the enemy that I declined the position and I made the decision to no longer be held captive and feel in prison. Trust me, this decision wasn't easy for me. There was a time in my life that I struggled with mental and physical abuse, suicide, addiction, depression, low self esteem, and even insecurity. But today, I'm ready to be free. I'm ready to stand in my truth. How about you? I know I'm through. Are you through too? Are you finally ready to heal all that emotional pain? Because I know that I am. My main goal is not to be ashamed and address what held me back. I no longer want to feel trapped and I'm tired of being attacked. I made the decision to stand in my truth, then I used my enemy's attacks to set up my comeback. It was because of that I just had to stand up and speak my actual facts. For instance, for majority of my existence, I had to paint a pretty picture in order to conceal what I tried so hard not to reveal. However, with time, I began to heal, and now I understand what it means to be real. You see, I made a bold decision, and my truth has risen. Now, transparency has become a part of me, and I no longer have to hide who I am or who I used to be. And for that reason, I'm finally free to be authentically me. Seeds have been planted and my emergence happened. Destined for greatness, no time to be stuck in the same situation. Satan keeps hating, but the truth will not be forsaken. It's time we realize what it means to be God's greatest creations. Thank you. Thank
Speak
you.
poet, speak poet.
Thank you.
And they got me going. And you were scared to put this was the one that you didn't want to put out.
Well, yeah, because I was like, I was talking about, the things that I had to overcome. It was kind of like my second or my third one that I wrote.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess I can get with that because the very first poem I wrote, it was like a tragic poem because um it was called Beauty, which I'm not going to go into because you guys are the guests. It was called Beauty, but it was my very first poem that I wrote when I was going through divorce, and it wasn't. I don't think it was as like dynamic as yours, but it was one that was worth sharing. Okay, um, spicy. Let's give us some spice.
Yes, yes. You spoke of the most difficult one, and this was difficult because, like I explained before, going through domestic violence, a lot of
Mm,
people don't realize how serious and how dangerous it is.
right.
And this is what had woke me up one day, when I was in the emergency room and I came up with these words.
Oh my gosh.
And this is called Blackout. Stretched with dry waterfall lying down her pale face, silver metal content laid upon as a temporary place. Attempting to retract how one landed a cold room. Visions in head are blurry with outlines of gloom.
Mm,
Surrounding echo voices speaking from medical terms of technology. I did not go to college, but one appeared degree of biology. White covering shield blocking optical sight. All is not dark, for there's a faded gleaming light. Footsteps are to pavement as temperature never began to change. I can't feel a heartbeat, for no motion is in range.
mm,
A hand lowers to the head, removing cloth of protection. And glass above, mounted, flat one mirrored reflection. Eyes positioned towards the ceiling without a minute's blink. Now, being motionless, I won't even have to think. The face is unrecognizable for any human being to see. I'm lying lifeless because he took all his anger out on me.
Hmm.
mm, mm. You can. Mm. You can feel it. You can feel the emotions and feel being there. So I know that you said you were a survivor of domestic violence, and so did the poetry help get pull you out of that situation and come to grips that, hey, I need more than what I'm receiving? Did it help you through that? And I know that you're a big activist
Yes.
around
My
Antonio.
poetry, it did help me tremendously in healing and, you know, being able to realize that I am valuable, to learn how to love myself, to gain strength. And, I can honestly say that coming from exposure to domestic violence to going through domestic violence, you know, I had to look back down my generational chain, and I seen the women in my family that suffered from abuse. And I came to the position to where I said, enough is enough. It starts with me. And
Mhm.
I can honestly say what really, really woke me up on top of my poetry is because, we when we have children, my children are my life.
Right.
And when I thought that everything was, I try not to get emotional because even thinking about it and seeing her right here, it does get emotional for me. But my daughter was 3 years old when I was hiding out, and I felt like everything was over. I was crying and crying, and I can remember her taking her hand across my forehead, and she said, "Mommy," she said, "you still got us. We love you," and that's what made me get up and fight even more.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. When you had a kid, that's gonna make me cry. Because as a mother or as a parent, you think if something happens to me, who do I love more? You gotta love yourself, but then at that point in time, you want your kids to know this is not normal. This is not
Mhm.
how you're supposed to live. This is not how life is supposed to go. You
No,
have boys, you want them to know this is not how you treat a woman. And
exactly.
you don't want your daughters to know that you don't have to accept this. Yeah, yeah, I've experienced that symbolic. I'm sorry. Jump on in, honey. It's open. We free flowing. Jump on in because
Um, yeah, that poem. I loved it. Yeah,
Mhm.
I felt it.
Thank you.
Um, I've
Yes.
also like experienced domestic violence, and it makes you like. I remember when I first experienced it, I was like, you think that because my ex was in the military, so I think that I'm moving away to a happy life and everything, and next thing you know, I'm being abused. I'm being dragged on the floor. And I just remember thinking, man, I'm caught up in a Lifetime movie, right? And you
Right.
see, yeah, you see it on TV, and you never think that it would be you. And
Mhm.
then, like the fact that he was in the military, and I just moved away with him, I didn't want to feel like a failure, so I felt like I was trapped. Like I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Like, do I stay here, or do I go back, or back to my hometown, and be looking like I failed. So I was like really, really torn. And then I had two kids. They wasn't his, but he was taking care of my kids. So I kind of felt like I was trapped, and kind of like what Spicy was saying, like when you it was generational, right? So when you saw it already, growing up, and you see your parents or your aunties stay in that, then you really do think like, is this what life's supposed to be? Like, is this how you supposed to live?
Right. I think the one of the line that got to me was when she said she was stand in the light and you laying there lifeless, and then you took the cloth of protection away. That's
Mm,
like that's like to me. It was a metaphor for it. You're exposing everything at one time. You laying here bruised up, and then they take the cloth off. You tell me if I'm wrong. Then you had to explain what happened to a complete stranger because you're laying in a hospital because somebody who loved you put you there, right?
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
somebody that I loved, but I didn't realize that what he was giving me was not love.
Right. Isn't that isn't that isn't that the truth? That's the revelation to come to when you realize that what you are receiving is not love.
Yes.
And there's no need to stay quiet and keep staying in that situation. And then at that point in time, that's when they want to turn. That's when they want to turn it to you, like you caused all of this.
Mhm. Exactly what I
Mhm.
used to hear, "You made me do this," or "Why do you
yeah.
make me do this?" And if you just mind me, I wouldn't have to do this. It was I mean, I look back
Mhm.
on it now and I'm like, he's weird. So it's like, how do I make you do this? Because the fact that I had a voice,
Right.
I'm human, you know.
Right.
I deserve love like anybody else. The one day that I stood in the mirror in tears and I asked God, what is my purpose here? Why am I here? Because all I'm feeling is pain and hurt. And I could say after I prayed and I asked that question, he started laying the bricks and he started showing me what my purpose was in life.
And your purpose was to be a voice for the voiceless or for people who are going through,
Yeah.
um, who have gone through the same situation. So you guys shared your poem. I'm gonna share mine that was at my lowest point, and that was hard for me to put out to the world. It's called Hollow.
Mhm.
I'm empty inside, hollow. Hollow is emptiness, but is emptiness good? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But God, my soul, yes, it needs relieving. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's a confusing thing to be hollow inside. See, sometimes emotional scars can be deeper than any physical scars on the body. The effects can cause hollowness. They can even make you fight or leave. And I chose the latter of the two. Now I'm wondering why do I have this feeling? This feeling is not joy, it's not hate, it's just emptiness, it's just hollowness. Taking up space in my body that once was my heart. and I'm listening and feeling and putting my hand in my chest. I need to feel it. I need to feel it beating, pounding something. I need to know I am alive. I am alive. This hollowness, this emptiness is deceiving, is kicking in my flight or die syndrome. And I'm feeling like I don't know what to do. I'm not going to remain hollow, bruised, and destroyed. I'm going to make this lesson subside to the back of my mind, a place that cannot be reached. Click. I like that place in my head. I am empty inside, hollow. I am anticipating what will occur next. See, because no soul should be hollow, empty, or dense. So that was mine because and I have never really talked about this, but since we're on the topic of the youth, and I don't like to put stuff out there, I I experience mental. Mental is just as difficult as physical. Because I
Mhm.
always feel like with physical you can get hit and heal, but mental is always like
Yeah.
sticking in your mind in there, right?
Mhm. But I
I
mean,
agree.
like I explained to people, because you have some that say, "Well, I don't put my hand on her." It's no different when you are emotionally abusing a person, verbally or mental. It all affects the same way.
Right.
And whether you realize it or not, it slowly also can kill.
Well, I believe I like me personally. So first, I experienced the physical, and then with my last marriage, I experienced the mental and the emotional abuse. And so I didn't know that that was would be considered domestic violence, but not but
Mhm.
because I had to go through it, like, and I went through both of them. I do feel like mental and emotional abuse is worse than physical, right? Because the scars eventually heal, but it's like slow pieces of you are slowly disappearing when it comes to the mental and the emotional abuse because that's the goal is to tear you down to nothing. It's meant to leave you stuck in a place and to stay with this person because of their manipulation, power, and control that they want to have over you and make you think that it's your fault and blaming you. And then you're questioning and you lost your identity because you lost who you were before you got with this person. Or if you didn't know your identity, you just so lost because you don't even this person's supposed to love you. So you like you supposed to love me. Why am I going through this? So then you questioning whether or not they love you, and then it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was bad, y'all.
Yeah, but let's move on from the dark side because apparently all of us healed and we moved from that, right? But
Yeah.
Right.
what's good about that is after you've healed and you start going through your journey, you know what you will accept and what you will not accept. You know your deal breakers. If you like cats and I like dogs, I don't even talk no more. It's just like, hey, it ain't gonna work. And then I think one of the hardest things to do was getting back into a relationship. I speak for myself after getting out of one that was so traumatic. Um, and so I know we have some healing poetry because, like in my book, my book, it shows a journey of my heart. It shows from when I was destroyed to when I went to that place, hollow, to when I started healing and met somebody. I know we got some good poet. We got some healing poetry, some healing poems. Y'all laugh.
I got okay. I have one. Let me see. Uh, let me see if
Well,
I remember this
well,
one.
let me ask this question since y'all you I think symbolic said that it's both of y'all said that the words start tearing you down. Is that when you realize words have truth to turn it around to make it a positive to heal yourself? When did you realize that words had power, opposite power? I guess if that's the way to say it.
Well, they words to me from the exes that was also verbally and mentally abusive. I started taking their words and using it as a weapon to fight back, meaning that to build myself to realize that I am not of the words that they are trying to form within me,
Right.
and that I was valuable. If anybody's gonna love me, God's gonna love me for one. My
Right.
children love me. But like when I was going through counseling, the first thing she said to me, Spicy, I hear everything for everybody else, but where's the love for yourself?
Hmm.
And then
Mm.
that's why I started sitting back. I took notes on what did I think about myself? Why did I feel like I was worthy? What makes me worthy? What makes me valuable? And a lot of people need to realize that when people issue you words of destruction,
Right.
is to build their building up.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm.
But like I got to get to the place I had to say, you know what? The person I am, I was always questioning. I got to the place where I said, so, it's just like a painting on a wall. If you try to put the oil on there and it keeps running it off, why is that?
Mm.
Because it doesn't fit.
Right.
I am not of those words that he said of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm what God created me to be. And it's that words of love, joy, encouragement, strength,
Right.
prosperity. And that's what I started working in is, as I got the tools to heal myself, I wanted to reach out and let everybody else know you also are worthy. You also are valuable and you can do it.
Right. Right. Okay. So back to my prior question. Do we have a poem or you have a poem that you want to share that was like part of your healing before we go into poetry? I guess I should have told y'all I like to do poetry. I love poetry. Poem for poetry. Symbolic.
Um. So yeah, this one's called Overcomer. So choosing to follow God was one of the best decisions of my life. Not knowing what comfort meant. When I let Him step in, He healed my soul, opened my heart, and helped me get rid of strife. Darkness had to flee as I learned how to be obedient and stand firm in the light. I used the power He placed inside of me to ignite flames for everyone to see. Reciting His message in a poetic format, He gave me the strength, courage, and confidence to speak up and no longer be anyone's doormat. He equipped me with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Now I stand in my truth and advocate for healing. Willing to bear this soul that I was given, I went from a slave to sin to uplifting spirits, overcoming anxiety and depression, taking no L's as I learned from life's hard lessons, free from shame, blame, rejection, and fear. God gave my life true meaning. Now I have a real purpose to live. So when life throws you a curveball, stand up and fight. The world needs your talent. Let your light shine bright. Resist the devil's temptation with all your might. Your story still needs to be written. So grab your pen and write. Journal your thoughts, goals, visions, and dreams. Believe in God's promises for healing and peace. Meditate on His word daily and surround yourself with godly beings. Change and growth is inevitable. His favor is not accidental. Stay humble and remain teachable. Yes, vulnerability may be uncomfortable, but let scriptures develop your inner strength. Then you will be ready to overcome any obstacle. Yeah, that was that one.
Dope. Dope. That was dope. Did I mention you won a poetry? You're a poet of the. Tell me your title. You're a poet of the year too, right?
Yeah, I
Miss
was inspirational poet of the year on Spicy Show. Yay!
Spicy. Miss Spicy has a show. Plug it for Spicy. She has a poetry podcast in San Antonio that you do it weekly, right?
Yes, I've been on vacation, so it haven't been, we missed some weeks. So, yes, we do. We have on Grown Men Talking Incorporated on Fridays, which I formed a platform to where men can have a voice. Because, you hear them say that, well, why don't you talk to me? Why don't you communicate with me? What do you feel? This gives the opportunity of a panel of men and for the world to sit back and actually listen to a different perspective of things in life. So we do have the platform for the men to where they can have a voice as well.
Right.
We also have grown women of views and vibes where we have the women get together and we tell everything about topics in real life, real talk. And then the main one is the unspoken heart discussion hour where we all come together and we just talk about real life situations and nothing but the truth.
Yeah, I've tuned into your podcast a couple of times, and I have to say it's amazing. That's why I was so excited to have both of you guys in here because I think when I first started watching, I was watching a poetry competition with Symbolic Soul, and it was some more awesome poets from the South Texas, San Antonio region, and I think a couple may not have been in San Antonio, but it was awesome.
It was all over the world. We had some that entered from South Africa. We had some that entered from Bermuda, Washington, some from here in Texas. So, when we had the Powerful Poet Contest, it's for anyone all over the world, even the children.
Yes, but we have the powerful poet with us for 2025, right?
Yeah, actually, Mr. Desmond Jones is our 2025 Powerful Poet.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. My bad. I thought Sam had one.
Yeah.
No.
I missed the final. Did I miss the final round? Well, you powerful to me. Shoot, I'm gonna give you.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
done gave you. I done
that's
gave
why
you.
that's why I explained to them it's no winners or loser. We
Right,
all are
because
winners in my
right,
book.
because
We
poetry
all
speaks
winners.
to it speaks to somebody. If it touches one person, you've done your due diligence with your poems.
Yes.
Yeah,
And with the powerful poet, we have the inspirational poet, we have the passionate poet, we have the narrative poet, and then we also have the children's category, which is the junior powerful poet and also the junior inspirational poet. So when they,
I think I
we
fell
have
off. It
judges.
must be my network.
Excuse me.
Okay, I said my network is going in and out. Apparently.
I know mine is going slow.
Okay, so you're up next with uh, your transformative healing era poem, Miss Spicy.
Oh, you want to be giving me another? You want to give you another one?
I love poetry. It's a powerful poetry. Yeah.
I mean, and it's weird because when I go back and read some of this stuff in my books, it's like I sit back and I was like, Lord, did that come from me? Because when I do poetry, it's from some of the scars I had. It's real
Right.
life things, but then it's also things that other people went through. So
Yeah.
then,
But you realize that you've healed from that, though, right?
yes, yes. And like I say, I thank my father for that because that's one thing I had to look towards him. And also the battered women and children's shelter where, the counseling helped. But, after the sessions, like I told people after the sessions, you do have to find certain tools to keep you going because it's a process in healing. It's not an overnight thing. It's not when you escape your abuser. It's a process of healing because now you got to deal with the mental traumatization behind what you've been through. And so, the one thing I did have to do when it came down to my children is because I realized I was exposed to it. So I had to come back and apologize to my children for what they had to see. Because as mothers, we don't realize that it traumatizes his kids worse than it traumatizes us going through it.
Mhm.
And if we're truly going to break this chain, we got to start not just as women and men, but looking to our children, looking at them as human beings as well, to know that we got to change that path for them because now we're looking at not just adults being abused, but we're looking at also our teenagers are being abused.
Hmm.
So it's getting younger, and it's sad to see. But I got a piece here I haven't read it in a long time, but it's called "Because of You." And it says the assimilating appropriation of virtuous and atrocious community compelled emotional to descendingly poor. Entirety conjectures she desolate and immunity for nobody's conceived audio psychological injuries from imperceivable core. oscillating his baritone suration that gyrated through ears like a sweet rhythmic melody. Bestow me your crosses. While reposing hand over weary chest, eyes of deposity, repacificated, can you fill my empty spaces and restore entirety's losses? Intermittently destitute from perfection, she descends amidst from one's path. But it's he that has been procurable towards each pitiable call, extending his hand in benefits by accompanying the view to strengthen, make wise, and aiding her through every laborious fall. Towards issuers of entirety's disposition, as one adorous and beneficence accompanying her through. The aspiration engrossed from within my soul as I lovingly kissed his tender lips and said, I'm standing tenacious, all because of you. And that poem there more or less was saying that, you know, there is somebody out there that love you and that will accept you for all your flaws, all your wounds, all your scars, and help you through it. Because, you know, as women that's been abused, we tend to get into a space like I stayed single for 10 years because I felt like no man could love me the way I felt I deserved to be loved. Nobody would stop hurting me and give me the joy that God says that I deserve.
Right.
But in this poem here, it's showing that there is a person out there, whether man or woman, that do understand, that is patient, that will see you as valuable, that will see you for who you are, and be able to say, let me just be there for you and let me love you.
Mhm. I like that. I like
I
that.
know where he at. Where he at? I'm looking for him.
God has them in store. Be patient.
No, then again, no, I don't think I'm ready.
Oh, you still looking? You still searching?
No, not really.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing I tell women is that when you get out of abusive situation, it's not healthy because I made that mistake. You know, I was in two abusive situations. And my thing is that you have to take time to heal. Because
Yes,
if you don't take time to heal
Right.
and look in the mirror and say, I need help. What could I? Because I mean, I always said I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't do anything. But if you really look back, you got to look at sometimes we can become the magnet to the wrong person because we're not changing the path and the way we
mm,
think in life. You
yeah,
know, you got to know one, what your worth is. Two, to love yourself enough to say, I am not going to accept that.
Right.
yes,
Right. I agree with you on that because I feel like once I'm gonna speak for myself. Once I learned how to love myself and understand that I didn't need anybody else to complete me, it
Hmm.
became so much easier for me to accept the love that I deserved into my life.
Exactly. And once
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, yeah, I do love myself. I do love myself." Do you really love yourself?
It,
Because you realize when you love yourself enough and you find love with things, I'm telling you, it's so sweet and it feels so good. But I'm telling you, you love yourself to say, I love myself too much to allow myself to go through any more abuse,
but
yes,
it's
to
the
allow
self
this to
reflection.
repeat in my life. I love myself too much to have to go back and have to repeat everything that I have suffered from. When you
And you're
realize what you deserve, you'll see things come a lot better towards you.
right. It's called self reflection.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing for individuals to do is to self-reflect because you have to look at your part and his part. And I just don't want to say that men abuse. There also are women who abuse men because I have a friend that supports a foundation for abused men. So it does
Mm.
happen both ways, just for everybody out there in podcast world. It does happen both ways, but regardless if you're in a victim of abuse, you need to take time to yourself, as Spicy pointed out, to heal and really get to know yourself. Because if you can't sit in a room by yourself, live by yourself, and be happy with yourself, you aren't healed yet. Because that other person's supposed to come and then be an addition to you. not a need.
Yeah,
Not
and the one thing you can
uh,
also look at, because when you say you're not healed yet, you gotta look at it's not just about learning how to love yourself, and a lot of
mhm,
people, they look at me strange and they be like, "I can't do that." But I could go back after learning how to love myself and falling in love with myself. It came also to look my abusers in their face and
mhm.
say, "I forgive you."
Right.
I
Yeah.
meant that.
Yeah.
I forgive for myself.
Yeah, and when you can actually truly forgive a person and it not make you angry, because you gotta look at forgiveness is a lot into it, and it's hard. But when you forgive, that means that that person can no longer make
Right.
you angry. It cannot make
Mhm.
you go back.
Right.
You won't feel anything. You just be like, "Look, I love you, but I forgive you, but I need to go forward. I don't go backwards."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. We don't go back. Do not go back. Um, well, I had y'all share. I guess I'll share mine. Mm. Mine was called second thoughts when I finally knew. I was getting over that hump. It's called second thoughts, second chances. Let's look at to determine the circumstances. Your voice says second chances, but your eyes and your actions speak second thoughts. See, second thoughts hurt, they slice because second thoughts destroy something deep inside. A second thought means I wasn't the best, no, nor not even meant for you. It just means you ran out of options and second thoughts come to your mind. And here you are back again, hoping for one more time. No second thoughts will be granted. No, not this time, not one. This time, I'm going to give you a second chance to reconcile the thoughts in your head. Listen, heal, and understand. A second thought and second chances mean two different things. This second chance given by me is a chance for you to understand and receive. I am no longer accepting a second thought. While I love you, I value me more. Please take your second thoughts and walk out my door.
Ooh, yes, love it.
Okay, okay, symbolic.
And that reminds me of a piece, what you just read, reminding me of my piece says it's escape, you know? It's
Uh-huh.
like it's just like when you could just free yourself from that situation.
Right,
Because
right.
yeah,
Yeah, and that poem came to me in the middle of the night because if you have somebody that you let keep coming back and coming back and coming back, they always gonna come back because you the second. You the second
Mhm.
thought,
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
just gonna keep coming back until you shut that door.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's a hard thing to do. I'm not gonna even lie. That's a hard thing to do when your heart is still attached to that person.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that because you hear a lot, especially when I was going through the courtrooms. It was like, why did you stay? Why did you put up with it that long? What made you allow him to continue to do this for so many years? And people don't understand the master key to all function is fear. And fear takes over so much to where you can't move. Because if you look at it, a person that's afraid of someone, they're not going to make a blink, a move, a thought, or even a word be spoken. So until they can overcome that fear, they won't be able to say, you know what, I could get away. But is it easy? No, it's not easy because really, even if you with someone for 16 years, that don't mean you know that person and what they're capable of doing.
Mhm,
Because I never knew after 16 years of marriage that he would uh, have a gun in my face,
mhm,
just to threaten for me to come back. I never knew that he would break into my homes and try to destroy everything just to put that fear in me.
Mhm.
But when they start seeing that you no longer possess any fear and you stand your ground,
Thing of it
they
lost.
losing all control.
right. That's what it's about to begin with is control.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when they lose control, they don't know how to react. Because When my former abusers start realizing that they words couldn't hurt me anymore, that I stood up to them. At that time, they didn't like it. They grew angry, but they could not harm me.
Right. But dude, I had to ask, as a residual, is that like a trigger? Because I know for me, if I even had the slightest clue that you're trying to control me any kind of way, I know this is probably bad. I get triggered. It's like, no, I can't deal with that.
It is a trigger. It is a trigger, and that's what people don't understand. You hear them say, "Oh, you need to get over that." Oh, that's been a long time ago. No, like when I say it's a process. But there's still little things that can go on that will trigger from that abuse. Even though you learn, you know, you could say survivor. No, I've overcame because I learned how to deal with it. I learned how to overcome what he placed inside of me, the prison that he formed for me. I overcame that to where now I can identify if a man's possessive, if he's controlling. I'm gone. I'm not dealing with that.
PTSD.
Yeah,
PTSD. For
Yes,
real, for real. Yeah. Ooh,
absolutely. Yeah.
ooh, okay. So we're trying to move over. Let's get to something light. We still gonna talk about domestic violence because that's what um the topic kind of is today. Um,
hmm
so y'all tell me how you got your pen names. How did that how did that come or revolve around poetry?
So God gave me my name. Like
Am I am I from?
I was, huh?
How'd you get your pen name? Because I don't have a stage name. I cannot think of y'all like symbolic soul, spicy grape. I'm still using my
Well,
name. I
actually,
can't even think of a stage name. So
Mama, it's not a stage name. My name is not a stage name. Like I tell
no?
people, just like my nails, I'm real. Okay, that is my name.
Oh
The
wow. Okay.
only
I'm
yes,
sorry. Forgive me.
yes, it's government. It's government,
It
and
says
so
government. Okay.
and
So
yes, but people don't believe it. But yes, my mother gave me that name.
that is
And
cute.
Yes,
but my name came from God because He told me like I'm a symbol to save souls. So what He put in me was made me a symbol to save souls. So that's where symbolic soul came from.
All right. All right. You have a signature poem around your name or
Um, nah,
no?
well, yeah, I'm in the process. It's gonna be in my next book.
All right, so your next book. When is your next book coming out?
I have no idea.
At least you're honest, right?
we just
I'm
saying it's
trying to be
under
focused
construction.
and do it.
It's under construction.
Under
Yes.
a work in progress.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I'm
put
trying to
your
be focused and completed though. I really am.
girl, just take 10 to 15 minutes a day and put your book together. Get your poems together. Put them together. Just take a writing sprint. Just take 10 to 15 minutes a day, and it'll come together. I promise you. Pro-
Yeah.
Promise you. Um. Okay. 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 I'm trying to look through some. Mm, okay. Writer's block.
Oh, I hate that.
How do you get through it? Because everybody does say we all creatives. If we can do poetry, I know we're creative, and that's one of the
You want to answer
one-
that first, symbolic?
uh so when it comes to writer's block, right? Sometimes I just have to be in stillness. Um and then when I just like shut everything down, um I could just sit there and then the Holy Spirit will start speaking to me, or something might come to me in my dream to start it off, and then I'll just finish it. But a lot of times though, I find when I really read the Bible, that's when all of these like poems just come to me when I'm really deep in my Bible, you know.
Until he's speaking to you, make you creative.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm like that. When I've been overstimulated, I think that's what the kids call it now. Over when you're overstimulated. And I when I'm filled to the top and take and can't think or do anything, and I have a block, I'm like you. I'll turn everything off, no TV, no sound, no anything, and just let my mind reset because it's almost like a computer. I just have to go to sleep, reset, and
Mhm.
I usually come out of it. Like I had went to a thing in Austin over the weekend, a book festival, African American book festival, and I had been so overstimulated this prior week I couldn't even think. So I drove 3 hours to Austin, no sound. 3 hours back after the event, no sound to decompress to where my mind can reset so I can be ready to write and to create. And I came home and went to sleep. I think I slept like all day yesterday.
Oh wow.
Um, got home Saturday and then slept. So that's how I recharge too.
Yeah, and I got writer's block. I could say thank God just once, and it was frustrating. But I was like, What's wrong with me? Why can't I write?"
Mm,
But what I had to do with myself, I said, "Okay," because I tell everybody I'm a overthinker. Every time I turn around, my mind is just going for the next plan, the next job, what to do next, and what we're gonna form next. It's just my mind's always moving, to where I'm doing so much. But I just came back from vacation, but it's like I had to regroup. But the
mm,
one time that I had writer's block, I had to really separate myself from everyone. And I love being by the water. So I had to sit by the water and I had to just sit out there and I had to just meditate, you
mm,
know. And I teach a lot of people about meditation because it does help with PTSD, it does help with stress, and it helps to relax. So, with me meditating, then I come back, it's like I could like, okay, let's get back to it, Lord. What you
yeah.
gonna do with me now? Because what a lot of people don't realize about me is that my pieces come from wound scars, but it's when I'm placed in a quiet place and I'm alone
Hmm.
and thinking. That's why I say I have so much respect, and I think it's so awesome when I see people like Sabalik or other people like Nikita. They could just get on stage and they just go with just remembering all these pieces. And but like with me, I'm just to me it's like a private personal place that I get to in order to find what purpose is this piece gonna be. But when it comes down to writer's block, I've had it one time and I had to overcome by just meditating and like they say, recharge.
Hmm. You have to charge. And I think when you said you touched on something in my mind jumps. I have a little bit of ADHD. My mind jumps. You write about what peace means to me. A lot of times when I have people that reach out mentoring like a poet or writing, um, I always feel, I always feel but speak your truth and don't change anything. Because I find a lot of people want to go back after and they were writing at the point poetry is written from a point of emotion or. So I always feel like you shouldn't change it. Do y'all feel that way? Or do you go back and edit and when I say change, I mean like change like whole verses or dynamics of the poem, not the editing part.
Well, with me, when I go back, 'cause there are times I go back and do look over it, because just like I said at the beginning, that sometimes I'll be like, did that really come from me? But with me, it's like if the Lord's waking me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, because I keep a pen and a pad right there. That's my man that lays with me every night. Because if he's waking me out of my sleep and he just like, daughter, okay, this, and this. Even if it's a title or it's just a line, I get up and I hurry up and write it. And then from that, it's like I place myself into the mode, just like when I wrote from the different side as a man. I had to actually place myself as that person, as a man, to in order to speak and write the way he wants me to deliver to get the message out. So I mean, like I said, it's a gift to me
Mhm.
to possess something like that. But like some people, they look at me and it's like I had like three of them tell me, "Oh, I wish I could do it like you. I wish I could be like you." I said, "Baby, you don't want these crosses though. Because to become who Spicy Gray is today, baby, you got to start at the beginning with my crosses."
Come on now.
Yes, because whatever God molded me to be, it had to be developed and molded through those crosses I went through. No,
Right.
no, I didn't deserve what was done to me, but it might sound crazy, but yeah, I've told my abuser, thank you.
Mhm.
Because what I see now is that now when I'm in position, I'm actually helping people that because all I look at is love. All I want to do is reach out and love and help people. And when I see what I do now and I look back, and I mean, I wish my grandmother was here to see me and my son here to see what came of me, because, they was my inspiration, to, keep pushing, don't stop. There was times I was going to give up. I had people, don't stop, Spicy, keep going. We look for you all the time. I'm like, oh, man, you know, but we got to realize what we are worth. Don't ever feel like you're not worthy. If anybody's telling you you ain't worthy or you ain't at a certain level, baby, trust me, they're intimidated by the strength that you possess that you haven't found yet. And when you
Right.
found that strength, you'll see why these people were intimidated and why they wanted to abuse you for who they see you to be.
Mm. Say that
Yeah.
again. Rewind, like we say in poetry. Rewind and say that again for the audience.
Yeah, it's when you have people that speak negativity, we're gonna put it like this. When people speak negativity to you in your life, don't think they dumb. They can see your strength, they can see your power, and they know what you're made of and what's within. But in order to keep you from knowing your knowledge of what's within your value, they'll say things like you're dumb, you're stupid, you're ignorant, you're not gonna amount up to anything.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell y'all, and I hate to keep talking because I know I can talk too
No,
much.
no, no, no.
But
I'm enjoying it.
it's
You give
it's
me
just
a
like
whole word. You give
it's
me
just
a
like
whole
with
word.
my books. I never knew that I was going to be a published author. I never knew that I was going to be an artist that has a CD. I never knew I was going to be a speaker. But I never call out to reach for people to go speak. They looking for me. When they look for me and they in my emails because God sent them to me for what He molded in me. As I stood before my father one day because everything about me was negative. Everything was cutthroat, like I wasn't worthy. But what I had to wake up and realize when he told me, you ain't this and you ain't gonna be that, and oh, anybody can write a book, anybody can do this.
No, everybody can't write no
I
book.
said, you know what? Yeah, they can, but it's just the fact of where the book goes. But
Right. That part.
like I told him, I said, one thing I realized every time you say something negative, something positive happened in my life.
Mm.
You said that I wouldn't be able to write the book. It wasn't published. And then it got published. I
Mm.
said, you said that, oh, anybody can write a book, but I don't mean they're gonna be anything or acknowledged. Woo, thank you, Jesus. And I was chosen the best book of the year by Amazon editors. When he said that I wouldn't make it here or make it there, then I got a trophy of champion of faith. Use whatever tool somebody say negative into your life as a tool to fight against those words to make yourself prosperous.
Right.
You
Amen.
choose the path you want. You don't allow them to control your path. Anytime you allow somebody, that's why people don't understand. I don't read long text messages. I'm not gonna read your negative voice. I ain't gonna listen to your negative voice messages. You know why? Because you feeding that poison into me. Baby, you don't control me. You don't control my thoughts. You don't control my emotions. So I block that out. When you start realizing, like I said, when you love yourself and you value yourself, you start realizing how worthy you are, and nobody who says anything negative can destroy you.
Right. Positive energy. Positive vibes.
Yes.
Okay. Symbolic, you
I
want
agree.
to answer?
I agree. I forgot the question now though. Like I was flowing with spicy.
Well, we flowing off of spicy. You can keep flowing off of her. We
I,
going. This is you guys' platform tonight, so
I
we
forgot the
flowing.
question. What was your question again?
I don't forgot it.
I think you asked me a question about the writer's block and how you get through it, and then I went from there, and then I think that's why I say I get to talking.
No,
Like,
Oh no,
that's
we
fine.
answered that one. We answered the
We
writer's block one
answered. I
already.
think we
yes.
was on another one. We were on another one, but okay,
But I'm gonna tell a lot of people.
I come up with another question, and I'm gonna turn, and then I'm gonna come back to you, Spicy. I'm gonna start
Okay.
with symbolic. So, how do you protect your peace while writing the honest, raw truth? How do you protect your peace? Because
Um,
especially memory.
I've learned to fast a lot more. Like last year, I believe I started fasting. I try to fast like once a month, something once a month, and I started that either last year or the year before last. And so I learned to fast and deny myself. And as I deny myself, I just get to a space with God where He gives me like clarity and to be able to write and to think about what others need to hear and the truth that others need to hear, right? Like so as
Mhm,
I do that, I just realized like I have to, since God made me who I am, like I have to go through some hard truths, right? Like that's what I was just telling a friend of mine. Like I just realized, like throughout my whole life, even when I'm not even looking for the truth, it just finds me, right? So it's
mhm,
like, and so I guess I'm just meant to be free because the truth sets you free, right?
mhm,
So and I'm meant to show other people how to be free. So it's like that's where I find my peace from. Like the more, even though like as I go on in life, even though the truth hurts, it's like I know how to accept it and live it. So as long as I know how to live it, I'm free and I feel peaceful being able to live my truth and to show other people how to live their truth. Basically, I don't
mhm.
know if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me because um, poets, and when we speak, our words have power. It's like you're putting a sword out to the world. So however you speak, you need to what's the word I want to say? Your words can create or destroy. You have power as a poet. You really do. Um, can't, my thought died alone. My thought died alone. I'm moved to
Yes, ma'am. Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
tongue, and that's in the
Yes.
Bible, right? Yes, it is.
Exactly. Like the more I learn the word, I think the more powerful my poetry becomes. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's the more that I could, learn to accept the truth as well. Because just like Spicy was saying, I'm learning and I'm still healing, because I'm fresh out of, the marriage. So when I was on Spicy show, I wasn't divorced yet, but I didn't even know it Spicy, but I was actually divorced, um because I had said I wasn't putting my album out. Well, God told me I couldn't put my album out until I was divorced. But I didn't even know that I was already divorced when I was on Spicy Show. So that was
Wow.
like a beautiful thing. So but yeah, like so just to overcome everything, like all the negatives that people say that you are not and everything, and it's like it's the truth. Like they're trying to talk you down because they see what's in you. They see those gifts and talents. They jealous and they envious of it because they can't do what you do. With that light that God put in you, wherever you go, it's gonna shine. People gonna be attracted to you, like your spirit and everything. And people gonna be jealous of that. They gonna be envious of that. And I used to be like, that used to make me feel some kind of way, right? But now I'm like, I'm who God created me to be. So
Exactly.
what? Go ahead and hate. Go ahead and be jealous. Go ahead and be envious. Just like Spicy said, you're gonna keep on elevating me. So go ahead. I'm gonna
Mhm,
keep loving you with the love of God.
mhm. And speak your truth, right? I know I found that Just as deep as I can write about pain, I can write about joy. Did y'all find that? I can write about joy. I can write about happiness. I can write about love. Um, because at first I felt like writing. I was, and a lady talked to me about some of my poetry, and she's like, she didn't. I said what she couldn't say. She couldn't say, so it was like giving voice to the voiceless. So that empowered me more to want to continue to write and write on subjects that I felt would empower people. Um, and my main genre right now, believe it or not, is love. And it came out of heartbreak. And that's how I write about love and happiness and joy. What about you guys? What?
I'm trying to get there.
No, but what's your main genre? I know everybody's not a love poet or spoken word poet, but what's your
Um,
goal? Yeah, when you speak, for what's your voice for the voiceless? That's what I'm.
the it's truth. It's just like, it's truth. It's about everything. So it's about like to show people really who God who God is. So to lead people to God, like in a poetic way, because that's what everybody's telling me. Like I'm a lyricist, so it's like I write and it's simple, but yet it's profound, and it's also like at the end of each thing, it's gonna lead you to God. Basically, at the end of each poem, at the end of everything that I do, you gonna go back to God, because you can't heal without God. So that's what it's about. So mine is all about healing.
Right, right. I agree. I agree. And yours, Miss Spicy.
Well, mine, as you know, it started off from scars, wounds, pain, trying to escape to part two, as you see right here. I have Unspoken Heart 2, to where you begin to sit. That's what I tell people. If you want to feel the transition, you got to get part one, then flow to two. Because two, you could actually feel the strength, how I fell in love with myself, how to love, and how it feels to be loved. Whatever this is going to end up to, only God can answer that, because I'm following whatever brick that He lays before me.
Yep, and he's not gonna. He never leads you down the wrong path.
Mm-mm,
May not understand it, but he don't lead you around. He don't lead you wrong. That
mm-mm.
I think. So y'all know what I'm getting ready to ask. Right, see, let's do round three of poems. I'm not picking a specific poem, just whatever poem you want to perform.
Let me see.
I
I
know
have,
you ready, Symbolic. I know you ready.
she always ready.
Ready, you stay ready.
I'm
Well,
not
she say
always
you stay
ready.
ready, don't have to get ready. That's what my mama say.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
So
kind of try to live by that motto right there.
this one is called My Desire. Opening her eyes to the morning light, no apparent muscle throughout her is tight. Breathing deeply inward, freed of one's stress, not wanting movement or the attempt to get dressed. Reminiscing on a long night's romancing story, passionate bond released in her mind, her worry. His affection destroyed all solid walls. Echoes in the room is his name of vocal calls. Heaviness of his hands is a message he sends. This moment of luxury she never wants to end. Arms pulling her close, not letting her go. In heart, she wants to love him so. Turning head over to now an empty space. All imprinted sheets lined is his body trace.
Mm.
Looking over a text from a long mile, words expressed raised her teenage glowing smile. For all that he had to offer isn't admire, standing to acknowledge that he is what her heart desires.
All right, all right, all right. And your analysis of that? Because it
Okay,
sounds like
so
dating love.
I'm sorry, did I miss
what
I
that?
was
happened?
like, I was trying to think. I was analyzing a poem, so it sounded like she lost her love.
Yes.
Mm.
everything her heart desired. She thought she had it, but it was just the outline of his body. It's like, be able to recognize when somebody is just using you for who you are instead of using you for the true meaning that you stand for. When you want somebody to love you, realize what's the difference. And I wrote another piece on it, in love by myself. Realize when you're in love by yourself and when you're not in love by yourself.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah, I've been there. You the only one in a relationship and didn't know it. Are, uh, you had your piece, Miss Symbolic?
Oh yes, this time I'm gonna read out of my book, y'all. So this ain't from memory, y'all.
Because ain't none of mine from memory. I was like, you put me to shame. At
So
one poem, I can remember.
this one is called Becoming the Best Version of Me. You're looking at one of God's masterpieces. Witness me as I wholeheartedly speak my truth to you. Through every unforeseen circumstance, obstacles, and roadblocks, I was protected by a force that I never knew. At times, I didn't understand his plan and I questioned my value. Many times, the right decisions weren't made. Then, before long, procrastination became an impossible addiction to shake. After that, I slowly saw my future fade away. Day after day, depression began to pave the way. Thoughts of doubt engaged my fears. Eventually, they congregated and left me still. The determined pair turned my life into major despair. I lost all hope, then suddenly a hardened heart just appeared. After soul searching, I decided to switch gears. Then God appears to me and he tells me to follow him. So I let go of my doubt and face my fears. I tried everything else, so why not put my trust in him? Truth was revealed and it took me out like an ibuprofen pill. I began to see the light and the unconditional love that my sovereign God could give.
Mm.
Forgiveness then becomes a part of me. God's truth told me to let go of all my bitterness if I want the recipe to succeed. Eventually, my thoughts and dreams transforms into reality. Guided by the Spirit, I drifted into something extraordinary. All my enemies can't see me, and that makes it hard for them to try to comfort me. Confidently, I break down walls and climb over all obstacles in my way. God helped me break away from all my dismay, and He turned my gray skies into brighter days. No longer standing in my own way, I could truly say I've been redeemed by His mercy and grace. Now I live a blessed life because I made the decision to walk His way. All the unhealthy labels and negative self-fulfilling prophecies has been tossed away. Because of his love, I've been truly remade. I found a new identity and all my mistakes has been erased. The best version of me is now underway.
All right. All right, poet.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like that. Um, and what would be your synopsis of that poem?
Um, just everything that I had went through, basically, I was finally like, you know what? I'm becoming. So this was the poem that I wrote before, I was becoming,
Hmm.
because then on my album I have one where I am becoming, like I'm, yeah.
Hmm. So you are becoming okay. Okay, I guess it's my turn now. Um, y'all know I'm a love poet, so this one is called Not Your Forever. What if I wasn't sent to be your always, but your almost? Not your forever, but the one you remember when the room goes quiet and the years stretch long. What if I was just a pause between what hurt you and what healed you? A soft place you landed before you learned to fly again. We, a constellation that never aligned, our stars brushing shoulders but never holding hands in the sky, star-crossed, time tangled, caught in the middle of a beautiful eight of what could have been. I gave you moments, but they felt like lifetimes. kisses that rewrote gravity, laughter that stitched old wounds, and nights that tasted like always. But I know some stories aren't meant to be underlined, not extended. Some loves don't fade, they just echo. So when the years bloom between us and the world calls you elsewhere, I hope you'll think of me and smile, not with regret, but with warmth and of something rare. Because maybe, just maybe, I was never your forever, but I was the one you'll remember forever. So that was the point. So I wrote that. I'm going to give a synopsis. I just wrote that when I realized that sometimes people come into your life as seasons, and that could be friend, family, or whatever, and they're not your forever. They're supposed to be there to to teach you your lesson or to help you grow and to be around.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah.
The reason, the season, and a lifetime.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. Because you do, like I say, you do have those people that come to teach you what they need to teach you and leave. They're not supposed to be permanent fixtures in your life. And they help you remember what you need, that lesson, when it comes back around again so you don't repeat it again.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Ooh, ladies, we are talking. So, what else, I want to ask? Because I have been enjoying this talk. I have learned so much from Spicy and Symbolic. I am enjoying you guys. So, I had to ask some fun questions now. So, if your poetry was a person and could walk into the room, actor, actress, singer, whoever you like, who would your poetry be? Who would be your person?
Wait, what?
So that's just like saying like if you could pick your person to represent your poetry, I even say a song. What what would represent your poetry? A person or a song? An actress, or a song that
For
would be.
me, for me, it'd be Maya Angelou.
Oh,
Um, she's always been my inspiration. I've always felt her when she spoke, her strength, you know, just her passion
mm-hmm,
for each word that flowed through her lips. If anybody could be that person when I write, when I speak, when I stand, or even be in a representation, it would be her.
that's a good one. All right, Miss Maya Angelou.
No, I
Symbolic.
got to change mine, Spicy, because you hurry up and jumped in there. No, but for real, like I was at this restaurant and this one guy had told me that like that my poetry was powerful, like my Maya Angelou. But he also told me about so it would since she picked Maya Angelou, it would be Lauren Hill, right? Um Lauren Hill is, I feel like she is like really, really deep. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, like even just like her essence, she would be like to the next coming from Maya Angelou, basically, because she's so talented and just like the way she put her words together. Like she writes poetry too, I believe. Her rap is more like poetry
Mm-hmm.
as well. So yeah, it would be Lauren Hill.
Yeah. Um, when you said that, I started thinking of what's that song? It could all be so simple. What? But you rather
But
make
you
it
rather
hard,
make it
right?
hard.
Mhm. My karaoke voice on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, you about
But
to make me sing.
but that's the song that came to my mind as soon as whenever I hear Lauren Hill. That's what I think. Or Zion, when
Mm,
she sung about her son Zion. Remember when that song came out?
Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
I know when I,
Yeah.
'cause I've been knowing Symbolic for a good minute, and I mean, I'm surprised she don't ask me why are you always smiling at me, because when I see her, I mean, it's so sweet, it's so loving, But when you sit down and
She,
listen to her, she is really an inspiration, and she's very passionate. And when I see her, I know some people might not think so, but I see Cicely Tyson when I see Symbolic, because to me, Cicely Tyson was a very nutritional woman that was very inspirational. That was a person that stood her strength when she broke through all barriers. And when I look at Symbolic, that's what I see.
uh,
Oh,
she has a spirit. You could tell when I've been talking. No, you're not. Don't have a sweet spirit, but when I was talking to her and I was getting with you guys are so gracious with me. In case I didn't, everybody, am I frozen on the podcast? Am I frozen?
No,
no, we can hear you.
can hear you.
Okay, well, okay. On the podcast, they are in the Aspiring Authors magazine, and they are the featured poets in the June issue magazine that I believe is out. Angela, she put it out, and I was so excited to have him as a guest. And I've just been this has been a great show. Am I still frozen? I guess I am, but you can hear me. That's fine. Um,
We see you moving too,
You see
though.
you moving
oh,
too.
y'all see me? Wait a minute, don't let me pick up my drink. No, I'm just playing. I thought I was frozen. Okay. Y'all have to know I'm a jokester. I'm a very, very
Ain't
jokester.
nothing wrong with that. That's a beautiful gift.
Yes, it is.
So, okay, you guys gave your person, and my person is, believe it or not, Erica Badu, Baduism.
Okay.
I love me some Miss Erica Badu. I love her style. I love her voice that when she speaks and how she does. So she would kind of represent me, I guess, as a poet walking in. Erica Badu, Dallas girl, Erica. Yes. hmm So with that one, I guess I think we've covered like um parting words. So we're gonna finish on the last line. My truth is, and that's gonna be what we wrap up the show with. What what is you guys' truth, and what do you want to get out to people, and let people know where they can find you. Pick up books and what you have coming up next. Um,
Okay, I guess I go first.
whoever wants to go first. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I say my truth is exactly what you see and what you hear from me. I'm not going to cut no corners. I'm going to give it to you just exactly what it is, because if I don't, then it's not going to help you. It's going to hinder you. Now, with that's why I formed, like I said, the shows that we have. Fridays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Grown Men Talking Incorporated, hosted by Dwight Robinson. It's a panel of men. And then once a month, we have the Grown Women of Views and Vibes, which will follow on a Saturday, 7 p.m. But every Saturday that we don't have the Grown Women of Views and Vibes is the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour, where you'll see the men and women come together and give, either we have in family game night, we have, like we had the poetry contest, but we have topics to where we get to share our own opinions and feelings and experiences, that helped us through life. But you can find me also on, I got more than two pages on Facebook, but the main ones are The Unspoken Heart, and then there's Spicy Gray on the Facebook pages. Also, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch on the Spicy Gray, the same thing. Instagram is The Unspoken Heart 70. And we're also on Rumble as well, which is new.
It's like Rumble. I hadn't heard of Rumble.
Yes, so we're enjoying it. It's becoming a good platform from us. So, other than that, we just want to let everybody know that we're here as a platform to to heal, to love, to bring awareness, to break chains in lives and bring in relationships together.
And do you do any events or around the San Antonio area? Since I know you're in San Antonio.
We were doing events every October. I'm trying to look for a place, a bigger place. So we're going to be expanding the business. But we were, taking, I still do it even without events, taking donations for the battered women and children's shelters. We had, to where we accept diapers, we accept baby wipes. We have events for that. But outside of that, the clothing, we take if you don't throw them away. If they're not bleached, torn, or anything, you know, hit me up at the unspoken heart 70 at AOL.com and I'll make arrangements to pick that up to get it over to the shelter. I do go through them and I make sure everything is presentable for them. Christmas, we do have where we have businesses that we choose to where we set up donation box to donate brand new toys for the children in the shelter as well.
Oh,
But we also throw a Christmas event to where it's a raffle with the Purple Hearts to where you might win a 55-inch screen TV.
oh wow. Yeah. Well, I lived in San Antonio. I guess I didn't preface. I don't know if I told you guys that I lived there for almost 20 years. So,
Mhm.
so hopefully some of the people in San Antonio, if y'all are watching and listening, you pick up what she said.
Yes, and
And
also if they're interested in the books, the Unspoken Heart 1 and 2 are and I heard is available on Amazon. I am working on the Unspoken Heart Part 3. It is going to become series of poetry. There's only going to be two memoirs. Right now we got You Heard, I Heard is out, and the next one's going to be The Heart and Heart, and that will be the last memoir from after I graduate till I'm grown and how I became to stand my ground and break the chain of abuse in my own life.
I'm gonna have to get that. So yes, I'm gonna have to get that and follow you and keep up with that because I'd like to read that. You got a fan.
Yeah.
You
But
got
they
a
can
fan.
find us on YouTube also. The show's on YouTube under the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour. So
Okay.
that'll be the easier because sometimes Facebook will flag you. So YouTube is the best place to go. And Rumble.
Facebook a flag. They flag
They
quick.
flag for my own music. I'm like, wait a minute, because I had my own CD where the purpose was for people that were blind and couldn't see the words, that they would hear my voice in some of the pieces out of the first book. They would listen to it. But I'm like, the music and the lyrics, I'm like, how you gonna flag me on my own stuff?
I got flagged on my author page because I wrote a poem for my birthday and I said I almost didn't make it. Like that was part of the poem, and they flagged that was inappropriate. I'm like, I was saying I didn't make it, but I pulled through, and they flagged me and they wouldn't recommend my author page. I'm like,
Mm,
I was like, are you for real, Facebook? You didn't even look at the content of the
yeah,
poem. Yeah, I'm not suicidal or wasn't talking about killing or anything. So
yeah,
I was being gracious that I made it because I almost didn't make it.
yeah. They're kind of limiting people, but one thing I can say, YouTube gives you a little bit more room, but with Rumble, they give in like they have no barriers. So I mean, even profanity or whatever you discuss, Rumble does not flag you for it. They allow you to express.
Yeah, and I think Clubhouse is like that. I go on Clubhouse on Thursday morning. Oh,
Mhm.
that's another thing for poets. On Thursday morning, it's a clubhouse that starts about 7:30, and it goes to about 9:30, 10, and it's poets from all over. I can't call the link. I always hit it, but Michael Geen hosted, and so it's poets, and it's an open mic poet virtual, and it's every Thursday in the clubhouse. But Treehouse, Clubhouse. I'm just on here just as wrong, probably, but I'll post the information.
Okay.
Can I
Mhm.
get on Clubhouse with my Android?
Yes, I have an Android. Hey, I'm an Android. Yes, you
I didn't know that.
can.
I thought it was only for iPhone.
No, I'm on Clubhouse. I listen every Thursday morning. I go in there and
Hmm.
listen to the poets. I haven't done the open mic yet because by the time my memory's a little bad, by the time I remember, I'm coming in the middle of the session and the open mic is closed because he lets you do open mic
Okay.
virtually. And it's poets from everywhere in there. It's usually like 100 plus poets in there, which
Oh,
is a good platform. Yeah, it's good to vibe, like when you find your the poetic community, once you get into it, is you know, you start seeing the different spaces to go and to hear poetry, and I just vibe and I love it. And I go on Poetry Talk too. I don't know, talking about TikTok, and find a lot of good poets and a lot of communities and a lot of events through Poetry Talk too. And I've met poets on there.
hmm
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
where some of our poets came from was TikTok as well. And I mean, like I said, I'm very proud of our poets. We try to celebrate, our poets because it's just like anything else. It was on a back burner. People didn't take us serious. They just
Hmm.
thought, oh, I don't do that. Like it was just something like a hobby. Like no, we have a true meaning. We have it's just
Hmm.
like a true flow. Just like you listen to blues and rhythm and rap. We that same type of vibe, but we also have a message that heal a lot of souls out there, like symbolic.
Hmm. Yeah. We turned it over, Mr.
I,
Miles.
at first I thought, that poetry, that was a time where I did think that poetry didn't matter, like even when it comes, because I perform, all around San Antonio. And when people want to book us, sometimes they don't even want to pay us. And I've been
Hmm.
doing this for years now, so I'm what you call a professional poet, right?
Hmm.
So but yet you want to pay a singer and you want to pay, a rapper or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they always want to shortchange us. So it kind of get discouraging too. And not only that, when I perform at a lot of different, when I first started with different bars and stuff, and they don't even want to respect when you actually doing when you're performing as well. Like they don't respect the poets. But I think y'all sometimes this is like in San Antonio though, because like when you go to Houston and Dallas and different parts of Texas or whatever, it's a different vibe. So my goal is I do want to start doing shows again because I used to host poetry shows here in San Antonio, and I think I want to do that again where poets can have a platform. I want to use my platform for to highlight other poets as well. For to be able to use your voice and to help other people heal basically because they don't respect us. So we got to make a platform for ourselves and we got to make it happen ourselves basically.
Yeah. Well, if you do, you know how to get in touch with me because it's just a drive. I go. I've been in Austin. I mean, I drive. I go wherever. Austin, San Antonio. That's it. Because I'm about the poetry. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Because people really, until people really. I had a friend that with me. She really didn't care about poetry. Wasn't into poetry, but she knew I
Now you
sitting up there
froze.
crying, and she was like, "It's some stuff that I needed to heal." But you would have never. It's a,
Oh, she froze this time.
Yeah. She froze and came back and froze again. Well, I'll just say what my truth is.
Yeah, but let them know, like, cause I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I was very happy for you winning the judge, cause people don't know I do not judge these contests at all. I don't, and I appoint different judges every year. But let the people know, like where they can find you symbolic, and how they can get in contact with you? Because I know she did ask that right there.
Oh yeah. So first, my truth is that I am who God created me to be. In every 24 hours that I get, I'm learning how to walk in that. So I'm learning how to not really take on those negative labels that people placed on me, and just like you were saying, and all of the negativity and people will say to you to try to break you down. I'm slowly transforming it more and more as I read the word and understand who God created me to be. So that's my truth. And so I have music on all different platforms, so y'all can find me on Symbolic Soul, on Apple, on iTunes, on Amazon Music. I just released my second CD called, what is my CD called? I forgot it.
And I just interviewed you about it too. Like, what?
Yeah, but it's on there. Is it beautifully flawed? No, beautifully flawed is the first CD.
Yeah, that's the first CD.
Yes,
Uh,
back to me, back to me, back to me is my second CD. Yeah. I had a brain freeze for a minute. I have my book. It's on. You can find it on symbolicsoul77.com. If you're in the local area, I like to meet up with people and take a picture and personally sign the book for them, because I like to show love to people who show love to me. I'm also like, I'm just starting my nonprofit called Her Story. And what it is it's a platform for women to speak their truth. I just had a conference um just earlier this month, and it was more than 50 some women that got healed, so it's very powerful. And I'm
mhm.
trying to do that like every 3 months, like God had called me to do. So that's what I'm also doing, trying to start my nonprofit. And I'm also an actress. I do a lot of different things, everything that God calls me to do. If you want to follow me, my government name is Aisha Chantel Ward on Facebook, on all the rest of the platforms, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. It's Symbolic Soul 77. Did I say everything? I don't know if I said everything. But yes, just connect with me. Connect with me. Send me a message. Talk to me. I talk back. I appreciate everybody's support. Spicy, I appreciate being the inspirational poet of 2025. You don't understand what that did for me, because I was debating whether or not I was going to enter into that contest.
I
And then
know.
I said, why not? And man, it made my day, because it feels good to be chosen when you was rejected for so long, since a kid, so when you're chosen, it feels good, and you still don't really know how to accept it. Like, I'm still learning to accept compliments, y'all. So if y'all got some suggestions how that's supposed to work, I'm up for them.
But what
But
I
it's just
loved is
like God
that,
just do so many good things for me, and I appreciate it all, and I just want to be able to be happy and celebrate it. But I think it's a way that I stay humble. He keeps me humble by just accepting it the way that I do, I guess.
yeah, but what
I
I
was,
loved that day is like, I felt like, after you won, and I think it was you called me or I called you. And it's like just seeing her. I mean, Marcine, if you would have seen her spirit that day, she stood up in the camera full body, straightened her shirt up, and she says, I am inspiration. I said, yes, you are. But I was so proud of her. I mean, the judges made a great choice. Like I told them that none of them are losers, none of them are winners. It just was some chosen poets.
that the competition was fire.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to next year. We've been doing it. I think this is what our fourth year now. We've been doing it, so I'm so happy. Right when I say, well, you know what, I'm not gonna do this again, but then it just something put back in there to like, no, girl, keep going, keep going.
Keep doing it for the
Yeah.
poets. That's what we've been talking about. Getting the poets, getting our respect. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, as each year go, it's getting even more powerful to where these judge. I had a judge this year that just she inboxed me and she says, "This is hard." Like, I didn't say it was gonna
Hmm.
be easy, but it was such a joy. I mean, just seeing all the gifts that everyone possessed in poetry, the courage in coming forward. I mean, I was proud of Symbolic when she said she's been wanting to reach out and do it, and I was like, "Come on!" And she did it. And I'm proud of her. I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have to keep y'all in the loop with like the poetry events that go on here because it's poetry competitions and open mics that I mean going on all the time. I go faithfully to the Dog Bookshop open mic on Tuesday nights, and then Mike again, he's a promoter of poetry. We call him the hardest working man in poetry. He always has events and contests, and we had the Sposkers. Um, and it had all of the poetry genres where you could compete from monologue to gospel poems,
Mm,
love, just different things. It's awesome, and I participated in that twice. So
okay.
we got to keep the poetry lines open.
Well, I'm gonna keep it going, keep it going. Maybe we could expand, even further. But I'm proud of how people are coming forward now. It's like they're no longer silent; they reaching out.
Yeah, when I was in San Antonio, I used to go to what was it, the Continental Cafe,
Hmm.
and it was over there off Ritterman. I would
Was
go
it
there.
Yeah.
second verse? Second verse, right?
Second verse, first Friday, second verse. Yeah, second
Yeah,
verse.
second verse.
It was second verse. I used to go there.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
where I started at.
really? Okay, maybe I know you from there. But I really used to go there with like some of my my military friends were in the poetry, and we'd go to second verse, and I think it was called Continental, wasn't it called Continental?
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. I used to enjoy going there. Do they still do second verse?
No, second verse been stopped. They
I
started it
haven't.
again, and they
Huh?
started it again, and then they stopped it. They stopped it again.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
I
something else they throwing now to where I can't remember where it was at because the flyer comes up every now and then, and the young lady supported herself and she hosted a part. I got to look it up, but I've been seeing it, and my main thing is that I need to start back getting out.
I know in Austin they have a large community, and they do open mics and stuff in Austin. Chris, I want to say his last name is Cohen. I just saw him at the AABF. I get his information because y'all are close to Austin.
Well, I'm supposed to be going to Austin. I promised them I've been saying, yeah, I'm coming, but yeah, I'm coming.
Mhm.
But yeah, that'd be nice for to get some of my cast members down there together. We could all go there because you'd be surprised. Like Dwight, the host Dwight, he does poetry. You know,
Oh, Dwight.
yes,
Okay.
yes, and Nura was our passionate poet. She it's so deep, and I know she wouldn't mind going as well.
Hmm. Yeah, we got to all connect and connect on our poetry scene and circuit. Like I say, when I travel south and come home, I call San Antonio home because my brother and grandkids and stuff are there.
Mm.
Um, I like to look for events, but it's really I never really find any. I think I did my poetry at Horizons because I know the owner over there in Toya, and so she let me do a book signing, poetry reading, and stuff there. So it was a good event for me then. So, yeah, I'm saying all that to say we need to connect and stay in contact.
Yeah.
That'd be
Only around
lovely.
the way. So since we're getting near the end of the show, do y'all have any? No, you have to do a final parting piece for me.
Oh, you want another poetry?
And she said another and another and another. Yes.
No, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Um, I'll do one. This one here meant a lot to me when I wrote it. It was a little bit long, but it came from a deep place. So this was called The Heart and Heart, which, as you know, that is going to be the name of the second memoir. My mind is exhausted from the pain, and I just can't take no more. Heart miles became weary of trials, throbbing and open sore. Patience has eventually expired throughout the dreary years. My eyes completely drained dry behind one's tears. Bold loneliness has stood still, constantly knocking at my door. Quietly awaiting change, one realized she refused doing it anymore. Countless chances has hurtled out on what you refuse to clearly see. Look closely within and acknowledge what one has inflicted upon me. My weakening heart has slowly hardened towards becoming totally worn. The muscles in coordination with her soul have completely been scorned.
Mm,
God witness towards clear blue sight, hindermost all you have put me through. So the deepening applied inflicted wounds, my friend, is all solemnly on you. Be mindful of the heartless flowing words through parted lips that one shall say. For letters applied in moments clicking calculation will equal out and towards double pay. He lacks acknowledgement towards pain that dwells within depths of my heart, slowly resulted in cause for my love inward deep to be torn completely apart. One merely refused issuance of respect as I devotionally supplied to you, so my love for him eventually diminished and validated to be totally through. Contemplating if you had sacrificed all desiring, truly wanting to be with me, deciding my value in shedding one more tear and demanding, finally setting all free. So I slowly closed the lids, blocking out one radiant stream for a glaring peeping light, visualizing pulling you closely, breathing, wrapping, and wanting, holding me extremely tight. Elevation of the heart rise as our lips start to momentarily gently and instantly touch. Speed per hour, one's heart races in time towards men in hand, becoming no matter of such. As the shades covered to sighted vision's drift state, as each one began to eventually open up, drunken emotion swiftly pours smoothly, rising above heightened thin glass rim cup. Mirrored reflections in the form of optical sight, clearly translated appearance of me, drawn feelings from my strongest muscles, sustained battles flight, letting things just to be. Acceptance that sometimes being alone is healthier than having someone's loneliness range. Love never costs one single dollar towards acknowledgement of a heart and heart's change.
mm, mm. All right.
And that moment, I wrote that because it more or less summed up everything I went through and everything that formed my heart to become so hard at that moment. And realizing that you wasted my time.
Mm,
If you really truly didn't love me, why did you even bother with me? But when I finally stood, just to sum it up, I finally stood in the mirror and seen myself and seen everything that I was worth. And when I've seen my worth, I was able to say, bye bye.
mm. Listen,
Thank
That
you.
sounds like a poem right there.
right? I can't snap, so.
Spicy just had that voice, like you had that voice, like everything you say. People tell me that too. It just sounds
Hmm.
like everything you say is just a poem.
Hmm. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay, so mine is called No More Fear. So I'm reading it out my book again, y'all.
Uh,
Here we are, face to face and toe to toe. I will not let you deceive me no more. I know I invited you in and you got comfortable, but it's inevitable that I let you know you're not welcome here anymore. Before
mm,
I didn't know what I now know, and therefore, fear, you gotta go. No more holding me hostage. Now I'm ready to acknowledge the clear advantage you had over me. Cease fear. There is no place for you here. See, now I recognize who I am. And my God said I could do all things through him who gives me strength. Furthermore, I must address how I let you own me for way too long. You see, I didn't understand, and I handed you my plan before I even had the chance to become a God fearing woman. My inner beast has been unleashed, and now all my ungodly ways must cease. So, fear, I have to bury you 6 feet deep. Rest in peace and don't come looking for me no more. Now I am equipped with the skills to check you at the door. You have crippled me, made me feel like I was nothing, got a hold of my mind, body, and soul, then left me feeling weak. Well, let me tell you, now that you're deceased, I'm finally free to embrace the woman God created me to be. With
Mm,
God by my side, the enemy must step aside. My newly found identity gives me the ability to strut and stride. God said, if I ask, I will not be denied.
mm. All right. Well, I can't now. No noise. I love that. I
Beautiful,
love that.
beautiful.
Love that. Love that. You
Thank
ladies
you.
have been so inspiring tonight. Again, I thank y'all for joining the Coastal Poetry. I have had my guest, Symbolic Soul and Spicy Gray. If y'all missed this podcast, you can catch it again on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. So until next time, do you ladies want to say bye? Tell them where you can be found, your plug real quick, and your social media handles.
Well, I
Well,
could.
once,
Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
you gonna go first?
You, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So once again, you can find me on Facebook under my government name, Aisha Chantel Ward. My artist name, Symbolic Soul, on all the different platforms. It's Symbolic Soul 77. On my website, it's symbolicsoul77.com. On all the musical platforms, iTunes, Apple Music, all of those platforms, it's Symbolic Soul. And yeah,
Yeah,
I like
follow
the way
her.
she
Get
ends
her
it. She say,
book.
"Yeah." I
Get
love
her
when she does
books.
that.
Follow her. Listen to her album now to Miss Spicy Gray.
Yes, and you can, like I said, you can find my books, The Unspoken Heart 1 and 2, and I heard on Amazon. The CDs are through me, so you can reach out at The Unspoken Heart 70 at AOL.com, and we can get that over to you. As well, if you need donation, want to submit donations for the victims of abuse and the children. Also, I can be found on YouTube under the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour, or you can put Spicy Gray in. You can hear some of the CD on there as well. I'm also on Facebook under Spicy Gray or this other page, The Unspoken Heart. I'm also on Twitter, Twitch, Rumble.
We're gonna learn Rumble today.
Yes, I mean, if you need me to come speak for any event, you can reach me at the email as well as make sure you put the unspoken heart 70 at AOL.com.
Yes, ma'am. And again, I'd like to thank y'all for being my guest.
Thank
I
you for
am.
having me. And
Yes, yes,
yes,
and
thank
y'all
you,
pick
thank
up the
you.
magazine. If y'all have not picked up Aspiring Authors magazine, these are our feature poets for the June 25 issue. Pick it up, support these ladies, support the poetry, their works. And y'all know who I am. I'm Marcine M. Moore. And y'all know you can find me on all platforms, and my website is moreauthor.com. So until again on the Postal Poetry, good night and see you around.